question I have today is about Glenn Weisvik, the CTO at Veolia Water Technologies and Solutions. And you mentioned that the book provides a practical framework. And how do you envision this framework being adopted by stakeholders in the water sector? And what impact do you anticipate it's going to have?
Well, Glenn Weisvik, when he read the book and provided feedback on it, he said, look, what you've done is with this piece of work, and this is myself, Lakshmi Adapa, and Case Weissman, we worked on this for a number of years, including some peer-reviewed literature that led to the foundational work that we've now adapted into the book publication. He said, you've basically described my existence for the past 20 years. He said, I was there founding Xenon, and I lived this, he said. I've lived the experience you're writing about. And for me, I'd lived it too. I'd been in the sector for 20 years, and I'd also been in the echo chamber, where I heard the same thing said all the time. We're slow to adopt, we need innovation. You begin to wonder, do people even know the boundaries here? So I think by having something that describes it, for at least as a starting point, we can get a common language that, look, innovation means different things to different people. Right? You need to understand that too, and also the timeline. So my hope is that for people like Glenn, who are practitioners in the field, and he's opposite numbers in all the large water technology solution provider companies, be they, Xylem, etc., that they can actually go to their management team. So the other pieces of feedback I had were surprisingly from larger companies when they went, for the first time, I can go to my manager and say, look, it does take this amount of time. We often think that these challenges only occur within small technology startup companies. They don't. They occur within large solution providers, and they're also faced by large companies looking to adopt them too. So I took great heart from that this was useful to a range of different people, and that would definitely be the hope. And the feedback has been that it's surprisingly readable, and given that it's a heavy concept, it's a heavy topic, but we've tried to make it accessible and adaptable. New stories, using real life stories and examples to help bring it to life in a way that people could relate to, and then simplify the concepts.
And how does the book inspire water innovators and emphasize the role of dedication and perseverance in shaping this brighter future?
Well, the brighter future it's what you imagine it to be. And if we only ever talk about all the problems we have, we will just always end up with the problems that we always have. You get what you focus on, and you've got to replace an existing story with a new story. I often think of the example, they say, if I say to the audience, don't think of a pink elephant right now, well, everyone's just going to picture a pink elephant.
Yeah.
And if we talk about, it takes, a very long time to commercialize water technologies, well then, yeah, it'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If we say, hey, the best in class can do it in this time, even better, some people can do it in half that time. You say, well, okay, that's it. Now it's a challenge. The gauntlet is down. Let's set about proving that we can do better. That's what happens in every walk of life. If we accepted the cars only did 25 miles to the gallon, right? We'd have never got to 50 or 60. And we did. Now we got electric cars. It's also about for me, it's about lighthouse cities and lighthouse projects, where if we accept that, you leak 30% of your water, well, that'll be that. No one will question it. If we point out, hey, there's 40 cities that are under 10%, suddenly people go, oh, wow, well, how are they doing it? And the public will say, hey, come on a moment now, that's ridiculous. You can't say that's now. I'm not belittling the challenges or the complexities involved in dealing with the issues at all by any means, but what I am keen to do with the final chapter of that book is to show that we don't have to accept the status quo, and many people are already moving in the right direction. And I think once you get to a tipping point with anything in this world, social science tells us that about when 15 or 20% of a social group move in one direction, they carry the rest with them. And that's completely true, I think, of what we've seen in innovators and early adopters. Once you get through that, And I do believe that once we can get to a point where there is a critical mass of cities out there and industries that are reusing water, reducing leakage, reducing household water reuse rates, achieving energy neutrality at the treatment level, it will become an assumed norm.
Yeah.
And the sooner we get to that assumed norm, the better for everybody.
How do you incorporate the knowledge gained from the book into your daily work, particularly in advising when you are speaking to some of the world's largest corporations on their water strategy?
So as Blue Tech, our goal is always to provide ways to use capital efficiently to solve water challenges, avoid mistakes, seize opportunities. And we're always trying to look ahead into the future. Of course, when you're trying to crystal ball gaze, you've no data into the future. But Clayton Christensen, whose work we studied very carefully, says if you don't have the data, build a very good model. So we built a model that allows us to predict, based on what we've seen, what we can expect to see in the past, and then we plug in contemporary data in real time for the next wave of innovations, and we track them, and we can extrapolate out, and then we can adjust our findings accordingly. We can say, oh, there's a new piece of legislation, there's a policy change directive, there's an urgency to this, therefore we think it's going to be adopted a little bit faster. And we can look at all the different competitors in the market and compare and contrast those service providers, and also track the reference project, which is key. We use that data to be predictive, bringing in that real-time data. And what I'm pleased to say is that when we look at the companies we've selected for Blue Tech Forum or Innovation Pavilions at WebTech or Aquatech, their success rate is above average, consistently above average. We've actually mapped the average success rates of water technologies, the average failure rates, and even the ones that kind of hang around and maybe don't quite make or break. So I think it's showing that with rigor and process, you can help clients make better informed decisions. There's no doubt about that. So that's how we use it to inform clients. And like we advise global investors, utilities from Australia to Japan, South Korea, all across the world, and they're all facing different unique challenges. And it's a diverse landscape when we consider the different groups we engage with. Though the process by which we do so is quite consistent with all of those clients.
And going back to the press release that we spoke about earlier, it also mentioned that you're delivering specialist training on water technology innovation. Could you share just a few key insights or lessons from the training sessions that you believe are crucial for leaders, innovators, academics, and students?
Yeah, so when I think back, right, I'm 20 plus years now into my journey through water, and I love it. I wouldn't want to do anything else. It's fantastic because you get to work with people who are passionate about what they do. There's a feeling of collegiality in this sector that even if you're competitors, that at the same time we are all working towards a common shared goal, and that is something unique about this sector, I think, which creates that spirit of cooperation. But if we think about everybody who participates, when we provide training for accelerators, innovation hubs, laboratories, research centers, what we're doing is we're trying to get the researchers and the academics and the practitioners to try and understand from the get-go what's the reality if you want to get this technology out there into market. So by providing training sessions, workshops on how to bring leading edge technology to market, we're giving them the tools and the toolkits to understand something different that's complementary to the technical knowledge, more on innovation theory, more, people might not have heard of Series A, Series B funding, for example. How do you do project financing? What does the innovator client look like? And when we work with CTOs within large water tech companies, it's helping them to understand what do they need to future-proof their portfolio, where should they invest research and development dollars. Maybe they should acquire some things which are out there that could be complementary and help them stay very current with what the market's looking for. For investors, we try and get investors to understand, look, where do you want to invest? Are you into digital? Are you into carbon? Or do you need a quick return from a crisis-driven innovation? Are you going to be happier with a slightly longer but lower risk in a value-driven innovation? So for each one of those types of training programs are designed to give them different tools and information and knowledge that allows them to take whatever they're working on, but do it in a more informed basis. Yeah.
Could you provide us some details about the in-person workshops that you offer, and how specifically that universities, companies, and different organizations could participate in something?
Yeah, I think there's no substitute for that type of in-person piece. We're running a number of these next year, and some of them will be in Asia, some will be in Europe, some in North America. And for folks that want to engage, just please reach out. We're happy to put something bespoke together in person. Maybe it could coincide with an event or a team gathering, an innovation day within your organization or your company, where it's additive to the work that companies are doing. We can also do these online as well, to facilitate greater participation. But I think the first step is just reach out. We're really keen to make sure that what we've spent the time and invested the time into learning reaches as many people as possible now. And again, everyone gets up in the morning and they want to make a difference in the world. If we can make that day count by ensuring that you don't lose $1, you don't lose time, that increases the success rate out the other side of the funnel. And that's something we can do. I do believe we can increase the rate of success, even if we can't completely and utterly shorten the timelines to 1 or 2 years for getting an idea out to market. That should remain aspirational, but we can most definitely enhance the effectiveness of the efforts.
And on that last note, is there anything else that you'd like to share today?
I think for me, my big aha moment really throughout my professional career has been the huge importance of the role of people in helping accelerate innovation adoption. When I go to places like Singapore, I get into an Uber or a taxi, and on my way in from the airport, I'm chatting with the driver about why I'm in town. I say, I'm here for a water conference, Singapore Water Week. And straight away, they start telling me about reverse osmosis membranes, about the new water treatment plant. And I'm going, that's incredible. And I've seen the same thing in the Netherlands. I was going through security once, and my book was going through the X-ray machine. It was some water book. And the lady said, so you're in water? And I said, yeah. In Netherlands, we're all in the water.
They're always so passionate, aren't they?
Very, very. And they know that the future of their country and the history of their country has been controlling water. And I thought if you can get to that level of adoption, so making people care is very, very important. I love a movement at the moment called Drinkable Rivers, led by Leanne Foa, because it's a positive, right? Who does not want a drinkable river? Yeah. Now, if you talk about CSO outfalls, like that's terrible. We're going backwards instead of forwards there. We've built these amazing wastewater treatment plants, state-of-the-art technology, huge investment to comply with legislation. And unfortunately, some of that water never even sees the plant. But harnessing that connection, that love, I would say, of water that everybody shares at a human level. We like to be near water. We feel peace when we're near water. We like to swim in it, to be in it. You get that type of connection with it. And then I think you're halfway towards being able to solve the problem.
Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll put a link to your book where people can buy it from in the caption below. We'll also put a link to the press release as well, so people can go back to what we've been discussing in this recording today. Thanks again for your time, Paul. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure the listeners have really enjoyed today's session as much as I have.
Thanks for the opportunity.